Let's dive into something that feels so simple we kind of forget how powerful it is. We're going to talk about hospitality.
Now, I know that sounds like a huge statement, right? But it's absolutely true. And to really get it, we're going to follow a story about one person whose whole world was completely turned around by a single, simple gesture. Okay, so picture this. Our story kicks off on a really cold, lonely evening. We've got a traveler who's just arrived in a new town, and you can just feel the weight of the world on their shoulders. Can you feel that chill? The streets are empty. It's that kind of quiet that feels heavy, you know? The wind is just blowing this deep sense of loneliness all around. Our traveler is completely, utterly alone out there. And just think about where he's at mentally. I mean, it's not just that he's tired and hungry, he's totally lost, with no friends, no family, no safety net at all. All he's got is his backpack and this tiny, flickering bit of hope. And then he sees it. Just one small house with a warm light glowing in the window. It's like a beacon in the dark, a total contrast to all that cold emptiness. And it represents one thing: a chance. So, after a second of just standing there, probably wondering if he should, he takes that chance. He knocks on the door. And what happens next? Well, it changes everything. Just imagine hearing those words. No suspicion, no who are you, what do you want, just immediate warmth. And beta, it's this term of endearment, like calling a total stranger your own child. The kindness is just instant. In a single step, he literally walked from one world into another. Behind him, the cold, the empty streets, the loneliness. But in front of him, the warmth of a heater, the comfort of people who actually cared, and the incredible smell of fresh roti. It wasn't just a change in temperature. It was a complete shift in his entire reality. And this is where we see that gift of kindness become so much more than just a place to stay for the night. What happened next wasn't about duty or obligation, it was about a really deep personal level of care. It wasn't some fancy feast. Not at all. It was a simple, humble meal. Some hot dal, soft roti, a warm cup of chai. But every single thing was offered with the kind of love you'd give to your own family. And that's what made it so powerful. And at that moment, the traveler just starts to cry. You have to understand, the tears weren't just because he was hungry. It was the sheer, unexpected weight of this generosity from a complete stranger. That simple act of being cared for just broke through all his walls. So when the traveler tries to pay for the meal, the host's response? Well, it says everything. She won't take the money. She tells him, hospitality is not business. For her, a guest isn't some customer or a burden. A guest is a blessing. And that totally transforms the whole thing from a transaction into something sacred. This one single act of kindness really holds a lesson for all of us. So let's zoom out from this one traveler on this one night and really dig into the deeper meaning of what we just saw. This whole story really forces you to ask a pretty basic question. After seeing something like that, what is true hospitality really? And the answer is right there in the story. See, true hospitality, it isn't about how big your house is or how fancy your food is. It's all about the heart. It's just a simple willingness to open your space and share whatever you've got. Sure, the blanket they gave him was physically warm, but the deep, profound comfort that finally let him sleep, that came from somewhere else entirely. It came from the human feeling of being seen, of being cared for. That was the real warmth. So what does this mean for us today? I mean, we all live in a world that is just constant rush and noise. A world that makes it so easy to feel disconnected and alone. But right in the middle of all that chaos, hospitality is like this quiet whisper that just cuts through all the noise. And it says something really essential, something every single one of us needs to hear. First, it says, you're not alone. It breaks through that feeling of isolation. It's a powerful way of saying, I see you, you matter. Next, it says, you are welcome. It tells you that you have a place here, even if it's just for a moment, that you belong. And finally, it says, you are safe here. In a world that can feel so uncertain, it creates this small, tiny sanctuary of peace. So, the question I want to leave you with is simple. It doesn't have to be some huge grand gesture. It could be as small as holding a door for someone, or offering up your seat, or even just a warm smile. What simple act of hospitality can you offer today to make someone, anyone, feel a little less alone?